In one of my maps, if you follow someone as a ghost, spawn and kill them, you end up in prison. And you usually end up in a cell by yourself. Today I want to show you how to make this possible by using variables. Before we begin, I quickly want to explain what variables are, because many people seem to be a little bit confused about them. The important thing here is that you understand the difference between value and variable. So let's quickly compare values and variable. So with value, you just input a certain number, for example 7, and that stays like this for the whole game. Variable, on the other hand, change constantly. You can add 1, you can add another one, then it would be 2. You can add a third one, it will be 3, and you can also remove it again, so it's constantly changing. Now, what exactly do we want to do? The logic behind this is like this. The first prisoner will be teleported to the cell number 1, and then when it's full, the next one will be teleported to the cell 2, and the third one to 3, and then repeat again from the beginning. At the same time, we want that the prisoners stay longer for each time they committed the crime. So for the first time, when they get caught, it's 5 seconds, and then 10 seconds, and so on. So for this, we are going to add some teleport points into each cell. Here in the cell 1, we give the area ID 1, then we copy it to the cell 2, and here we give the area number 2, and we repeat the same thing for the cell number 3, and there will be a fourth teleport outside, which we give the area ID 4. After this preparation, we go into the event editor to define our variables. So here we add a variable, we give it a name. For example, we call it times in prison. So it counts how many times each person is in a prison, that's why it's individual. It's of course a player, and it's a number. And it starts with 0. Now we add another variable. We call it cell occupation, cell occupancy. I'm not sure which is the right word. Maybe leave a comment and tell me. However, the idea is that it just defines in which of those cells you will be teleported to. Obviously, it's a global variable because it doesn't happen to just one person, but to every player equally. Now we go to the event editor and start a new event. In order to not overcomplicate everything, I chose here kill teammate as a trigger. If you want to learn how to detect spawn kills, I made a separate video about this. Remember, if someone is in cell 1, the next one should be teleported to, and so on. So for this, we choose as a target for the teleport a variable. It will be the global variable, and here it's the cell occupation. So this means whatever the value of this variable is at the given moment will be the target of the teleport. In the next action, we define with a yield how many seconds you need to stay in a prison. This also has to be a variable because we want people to stay longer when they committed the crime repeatedly. And the third action gets you out of the prison, so we have here again a teleport. And this will be like a value number 4, because that just brings you out into the freedom to this guy here. Now, how to define the length of the yield? So here we go to variable, and this time it will be an individual variable, so a selected object, and then we can find here then counter how many times people have been in a prison. However, if you do it like this, then if a person has been convicted once, he will stay 1 second. If you convicted twice, it will be 2 seconds. So you need to change here, and instead of variable, you choose here variable operation value. There are many different things, but we choose variable operation value. So now you can see there are several mathematical operations that you can do to the variable. So we do here multiply with 5. So if one has committed a crime once, it will be multiplied by 5. That means he will be in prison for 5 seconds. We need to add one more action. It is add something to times prison. So every time someone goes to prison, it will add 1 to his personal counter, which is important to define later the prison time as is seen here. That's also why this action needs to be on the very top, because the actions will be executed from top down. Now we add one more action, and it's also add variable, and this time it will be +1 for the cell occupation. Remember, the cell occupation will define on which teller board or in which cell you will land here. Now we need to do one last thing. We open a new event. We choose global variable change. So every time when the variable cell occupation changes, it will be executed. Select none, and then we do a condition. The condition is if the global variable cell condition becomes 4, that means like if it reaches the end of it, then it will automatically set the number down to 1. That means you will spawn again in the first of the 3 cells and not in freedom. Okay, that was it with the variables. It was pretty easy, right? And if you have any comments or suggestions for other topics, please feel free to leave a comment. It helps me with the algorithm and it's fun to read what you think.